She doesn't know what turtling is, so this is going to be a real deep conversation later on.
Explain it to her now.
Yeah.
Turtling is when you, but before you need to take a shit, and
This is going to be a great intro.
You feel like it's hanging out.
and the poop is like, it feels like it's hanging out in a way. So, like, when a turtle sticks its head out of its shell, that's called turtling.
Ba-dum, ba-dum, bam, 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 bam.
Hello and welcome to episode 31 of The Unusual Suspects. My name is Dan, and I'm joined by Penny
Oh, hi!
and Andy.
Hello, Pen. Why did that catch you by surprise?
Because it's usually you first. And I was looking for something, so I was distracted.
Nice. Good start. Not even paying attention.
I was looking for the post-it with our socials on,
That
if that
may
helps.
be a theme later on. Possibly. We don't know because we haven't heard anything. But yeah, welcome to 31. We've reached our 30s. It's all downhill from here.
Yeah.
And our 20s are gone, and the bright old days of our fresh comedic content are all but done.
Does this mean we are now allowed to be miserable assholes?
I mean,
And get more shambly.
some say that you were beforehand.
I'll take it. I am in my 30s.
That's true, and I'm still 29, so fuck you guys. I'm the youngest.
Okay.
Anyway, so we're going to kick off Film Out of the Hat later on for the new year, which was Casino Royale, a film that many of us really want to talk about, including Penny. But that's for later on. But first, Andy, have you been watching anything, you miserable old fucking git?
I'll tell you what I watched. And this has been brought up in 3 separate conversations over the last 48 hours. I watched Matilda.
That classic children's film that you couldn't even criticize even if you tried.
It's a great film.
I'll tell you why you're wrong.
What? I know that was coming.
It is weird that, like, I've had 3 separate conversations with different groups of people, not even, like, nearly related. And every single time they've been like, Matilda's so good. Matilda's so good. And I've
Because it is.
always disliked it. And I can't really tell you why, but I just do not appreciate
Good
it.
content then. Just can't tell you I hate it, so I won't tell you why I hate it, is what you're saying.
Do you not even relate to, like, Danny DeVito? Maybe that's...
Do I relate to Danny
looking at that?
DeVito?
I don't know, he's a grumpy little man, isn't he? I mean, you're not little, you're 6'4", but...
I'm not
6'1".
6'4". Where's that come from?
6'1". 6'1".
Yeah, all right. I mean, you're nearer his height than anyone else.
That's the greatest diss of, hang on, that's the greatest diss of 2021 already, for fuck's sake. Let's just hold it in appreciation for 2 seconds.
You're a
Jesus.
grumpy little man, but you're also 1.5 feet taller than him.
Well, I was going to say you're a grumpy old man, but I didn't want to call Danny DeVito old.
He is old. I think he's nearly 70, isn't he?
He's young at heart when he's, like, lubed up and popping out of a sofa, so...
Like a turtle head.
Move on.
So yeah, I watched Matilda. It's an interesting one because a lot of people do really enjoy it, and I think it does. And I'm going to use that word and then quickly move on. I think it brings a lot of nostalgia to people. However, I have got some really weird issues with it, and I don't really know why. I think it's because I find Miss Honey fucking insufferable.
Oh, she's lovely.
Oh, she's
not.
nice.
She's weird.
Why?
I just don't
Why
like
is she
her.
weird? She's a fucking nice
She's just
teacher.
a nice teacher.
I'll come back to
Yeah.
it. So the vague plot, we've all seen Matilda, I assume. Shut up. We've all seen Matilda, I assume.
Yes, many times, yes.
So it's about a kid who grows up in a dysfunctional family. She's the odd one out. The family are all sort of shady people. The brother's a dickhead. Her mum goes to play bingo and abandons her at home, and her dad is a used car salesman who, let's say, fraudulently
Sneaky.
changes the cars and stuff deliberately to try and make some cash.
He changes the dials, doesn't he? With a drill.
Yeah, it changes the mileometer.
Oh, yeah. Which I didn't think you could do until I watched this film.
Well, I don't know if you can do it
Facts.
now because they're all electric, but
Yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah. Oh, yeah. Cars, the
No.
more you know.
the future.
Is that the new Pixar one?
What's the sequel to Cars? The More You Know. It's just them ripping each other apart and changing the mileage on them.
What a great movie.
Well, the more they know about each other, the more they know about themselves. And isn't that what everyone wants, to know more about themselves?
Maybe.
I don't know where this is going, but... Okay.
So that's a vague plot. We don't need to go over it. Eventually, she goes to school. She meets her teacher, Miss Honey, who is good to the kids in the class. Meanwhile, the principal is an arsehole, Miss Trunchbull, who I think we can all relate to in some different way.
Wait. No?
No, why not?
Like, I'm an asshole, but I've never been like, oh my god, Pen, calm down, you're being Miss Trunchbull asshole. Like, she is the asshole.
I never made a kid eat a chocolate cake, so, I mean...
Swung on round by its pigtails.
Swung round a kid by pigtails, so...
Okay, just me then. But, let's keep
Story
going.
for after dark.
Keep going.
The time Andy swung a kid round by its pigtails.
We've all locked someone in a cupboard called the Chokey, surely.
That's for the 50 Shades episode.
The problem I have with it is that it's like Matilda does not come across that well. And I understand that Mara Wilson was going through a shit time. Like, her mum died during the filming of that film.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I understand, like, and obviously she was a young kid, and I understand that, like, it was a difficult film to be on for certain reasons and etc. But there's a bit of an insincerity to her that just winds me up. I think it's because she's, like, quietly smug the whole way through.
Yeah,
I was thinking
that's what I was going to say. Because I remember there's a scene when Danny DeVito says to her about being smart. She's been punished for being smart. And she's like, punished for being smart? Like, voice.
She's definitely smart people in a house. A smart kid in a house full of dumb people.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, oh, I'm smarter than you. I'm better than you.
She's the anti-hero.
She's the anti. She's the Deadpool of the Roald Dahl world.
Yeah, she's smug as fuck, but in some cases, she also lives with a bunch of idiots. So, you know.
Well, I think
so far what I've got from this is Matilda is a smug little shit, and we can all relate to Miss Trunchbull.
Maybe I'm looking at this film backwards.
Who's the real hero of the story?
Yeah, she's teaching those kids a thing or two. Behave yourselves, otherwise you'll be pricks when you grow up.
And Miss Honey being all caring and nice and nurturing is a dick.
So Miss Honey, I do question her. Like, every time you see her, she looks like she's about to burst into tears. And I don't really know why. Like, literally in every scene.
I mean, we know someone that's a bit like that.
But why does her making... But why is her... I think she just has that, like... She feels sorry for Matilda for most of the film. So I think that's the reason why she looks like she's about to burst. Because she's always, like, trying to help her. And she sees the good side in her. But she has that kind of... Not happy face, but sort of, like, sympathy face.
But it's not even a face of sympathy. It's, like, a genuine... Like, some people have resting bitch face. She has resting crying face, which is fine.
Doesn't she not have a husband?
No, she doesn't.
No.
Or a kid?
No, she doesn't.
The third point that Andy's making is that people that are sad are pricks.
This is all I've learned.
He hates Miss Honey because she's sad all the time.
Hello, 2021. Coming in with a bang.
Leaving with a bang.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I'm getting from this conversation.
Well, she
yeah,
just...
if you are happy, you are a prick. But if you're, well, no, if you're an asshole like the principal, you're all right, and we can all relate to you. That's all I've got from this so far.
But so the relationship between her and Matilda is weird. Like, at certain points, and I'm going to use this as just a general term, not meaning anything sort of sinister or weird behind it, but there's a weird sort of sexual tension between them.
What?
Because every time they look at each other, they just seem to melt. Like, and it's...
You know how I feel about how Andy calls Freddy Krueger a pedo and he's not?
Yep.
I was not expecting him to call Miss Honey a pedo.
I'm not saying she's
starting to see a pattern.
Look, I'm not saying she's a paedophile. I'm not saying she's going to fuck Matilda. What I am saying is that, like, they've got a weird chemistry that just, like, every time they talk to one another, they just sort of melt into, like, some sort of glue. And
this might be your lowest moment of the year, and we've just started a new year.
Started, you mean to go on?
I have not had I definitely have not had this sort of relationship with a child.
My God.
But like sometimes you have, like when I worked with kids, you have kids you feel bad for and kids you really look forward to seeing, and you do have like a cute little relationship, but yeah, there's no paedophilia in that.
This is a kid that she's like, on the first day she meets Matilda answers a math question. And Miss Honey's like, oh my God, you're so amazing. You're doing big maths. And it's like, she just answered a question like a fucking, I think it's like 13 times.
But maybe that's because...
I can't believe you're trying to justify this Penny wants to have sex.
I'm not saying, no, I'm not saying she wants to fuck Matilda. I'm not saying that at all. There's just like an adoration between them where they melt into each other. That's not a sexual thing.
There's a really nice thing about when a kid understands, like you've taught a kid something and they get it, and you've like.
But she didn't teach this kid.
She can. No, but like
she's still introducing her to the class. Like she's like, oh, this is Matilda.
The rest of her class
don't
is
worry
so fucking
if you
stupid.
don't know any of these questions. It's fine. Now, class, what's 2 times 4?
She's just happy.
What's 2 times 7?
She's not working with morons anymore.
What's 13 times 379? And Matilda's like, I know the answer. It's whatever. And Miss Honey's like, oh, this is brilliant. You're so clever.
It's just a nice change from little Timmy that can't spell his own name.
And then they do weird things, like they break into Miss Trunchbull's house together.
Because she's a prick.
Yeah.
And Miss Honey, who has known her for, I reckon, a week at this point, is like, you want to come see my house? Which is weird.
Andy,
oh my
no.
God. What is this?
This is worse.
She takes her home. She's like, do you want to
see?
see the house that I live in? Let me tell you a story. By the way, this is the house from the story.
I mean, there are safeguarding issues and she probably shouldn't have done that. But it's definitely from your house is shit. Like, come be safe in my house, not let me bang you in my house.
No one is saying banging. Let me confirm, I'm not talking about...
I'm not sure they're not.
You're not sure they're not banging?
Rewind the tape, Ronan Keaton.
You said sexual tension.
No, I said as an example. Sexual tension. I'm not saying they're absolutely banging, because that would be weird.
Pretty fucking shit example.
Just that sort of like tension where there's like melting and like an unjust...
they like each other.
Is it not because Miss Honey doesn't have a kid?
Yes.
And Matilda has shit parents, and she's like...
Yes.
There have been kids when you're like, oh, you're such a sweetheart, like I'd take you home and look after you and give you a nice life. I haven't, because I can't even look after myself. But
they're both smart people, so they find a connection with each other. They're not melting in each other's embrace or eyes.
No, they're enjoying each other's
brains. Fucking put it.
So after that, she goes to Miss Trunchbull's house. The next day, Matilda somehow learns how to use her powers, right? And she's gone from like being able to move a jug by mistake to suddenly being fucking Charles Xavier and shooting shit all over the room, and like
because Miss Honey's unlocked the potential in her with her belief and nurturing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's bullshit. I don't like that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like 24 hours later, so she goes back to Trunchbull's house, fucks up the house, and then the next
Not all
day...
films can be 2.5 hours long, guys.
The next day, she goes back into school to see Miss Honey, gives her doll, Lissy doll, and a chocolate. Also, right, so she steals a couple of chocolates from Miss Honey, and then she eats one immediately. It's like, why didn't you just save them so you could both have them at the same time, and then, you know, have that connection via the chocolate?
You were complaining they had a connection a minute ago. Make up your mind.
This is the weirdest conversation I've had on the podcast.
And we were talking about turtle heading just before we hit recording, and this is weirder.
We were. Yeah. Amazingly so. He saved the best for... No, I don't know. I think you have implied to yourself that this is a thing about the film. And now you've stuck with it and you can't get out of your head and you're trying to convince us. And it's somehow not working.
Somehow.
She is way too saccharine, though, Miss Honey. Like, the name's fucking appropriate. She's so sweet. It's unbearable.
You hate that, though, in all movies.
I do hate that. And in people, not just movies. But a week after Matilda develops her powers, she then gets adopted by Miss Honey. That's definitely a safeguarding issue, you know?
I mean, it would take a bit longer than that, but yeah, not all movies are 2.5 hours.
She has the adoption forms, and she said she's had them since she was old enough to Xerox.
Does she?
Yeah. She probably had them for a couple of years.
Oh.
Matilda, this is.
Matilda.
Oh, yeah. I thought you said Miss Honey was like keeping them. That would have been more sinister.
No, that would be weird. No,
that would have been
Matilda's
weird.
had them.
Matilda has them.
Because her parents suck.
It's got her parents' name on it, but then it must also have Miss Honey's name on it. But she's only known her for like 2 weeks.
Maybe she just wrote it in. Like, I imagine it was a blank adoption form. Like, she put her parents in it, and then the first good person I meet that wants to adopt me, I'll put their name in, right?
Yeah, that's how it works.
I mean, it doesn't, but yeah.
I mean, I can neither confirm nor deny, but also just signing the bit of paper without anyone else being present. You'd need witnesses, surely. But no.
Kids love witnesses and notorieties in their children's movies. They love all that courtroom paperwork shit.
I think the target audience you've misjudged here massively, Yancy, is that most of the time when we were watching this, we were very, very small kids and didn't understand the adoption process. So maybe they cut corners with that side of things.
I just think it's really weird that, like, after knowing the kid for 2 weeks, she's like, "Oh, I'll adopt her, I love you." It's just...
I'm more baffled that you are not having to go at the head teacher who, as we said previously, fucking grabbed a kid by her pigtails and swung her around and made a kid eat chocolate cake in front of the fucking class assembly. You're completely fine with that, though, right?
Sometimes you've got to teach kids a lesson.
That's like waterboarding, but with cake.
Yeah, it's literally waterboarding with cake.
In fairness, that cake scene did make me feel very unwell watching it.
It was too chocolate.
Yeah, and locking kids in cupboards. Like, kids get taken away from parents for being locked in cupboards.
Yeah.
Like, that's not...
Didn't she carry around a whip as well or some shit?
It was a riding crop.
Yeah, that's not...
Oh my God, come on.
But Miss Honey is just way too nice.
No, but the kids were arseholes to her. They made her drink a newt.
That's the least that she deserved.
They sold her a lemon, a shit car. You know.
I was like, they sold her a lemon.
I never understood that as a kid.
I hope her brakes fail.
Anyway, I'm not a fan of that film.
You know
initially, it was because of the soundtrack and I didn't like the songs that were in it, but now I've looked further into it. Miss Honey she's a sociopath. She's going to murder Matilda in her sleep.
When people take trailers and they'll make a nice trailer and they'll make it into a horror movie or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like Andy's done this with this film in his head. Like,
even more so than I thought he possibly could, in all honesty, but that's why we love him, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like no one's agreeing with you on this one. Sorry, dude.
Look, I don't want people to agree with me. It's fine. And I will confirm, I will very much say, I'm not saying that Miss Honey and Matilda are fucking, because that would be weird. 100%.
Get the fuck out, motherfucker.
I'm sure that's not the case. However, there is just a weird chemistry between them that is a bit too romantic, I would say.
Not gonna lie, I like that you said it, because next time you bring it up about Freddy Krueger, I'll remember. Remember
what? They're probably related. Miss
You'll
Honey
just be like,
Freddy.
"Oh, Freddy Krueger's a pedo," and I'll be like, "What, like Miss Honey?"
Yeah.
And you'll be like, "Yes."
Yeah.
Join us later for more paedophile chat. What's happened to us? Fucking hell.
I don't know.
Have we run out of material? Is that literally what we got to do?
You're mad at Matilda for having a shit life, finding a too nice lady to adopt her. Is that the gist of it? All because the soundtrack's
I don't really know. It's a bit of everything. I mean, in fairness, it does look pretty. It's a well-written film and it's well-directed. Like, the characters are convincing enough for me to be annoyed at fucking all of them.
It's got a good message.
Yeah, the message is stay away from friendly teachers.
Oh my God, for fuck's sake, you fucking...
There's just something about it. Like, it feels sinister to me and I can't quite work out why, even though it probably shouldn't. Like, Miss Trunchbull isn't the part that makes me feel sinister. Is how nice Miss Honey is. Like, I'm fully expecting her to just come into school one day and fucking bomb the shit out of it.
That's the problem. I think to say the problem is you have a problem with nice people being a thing. And you're okay with, like, sinister people. You're like, that's normal for me. But when a nice person shows up, you're just like, well, fair, that ain't realistic.
That is true.
When people are too nice to me, it freaks me out. So I'm with you on that one. You know that. But not in this instance.
Well, and I've said this to other people. And this could get quite awkward quite quickly. Dan's girlfriend is very nice, like very nice, and that creeped me out the first few times I met her because I was like, she's too nice. I don't trust her. There must be something wrong with her.
Yeah.
And then she started talking about communism and stuff.
Cool. Let her know. I'll let her know.
Listen, you little wiseacre. I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm big, you're little. I'm right, you're wrong. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Penny, please, for the love of God, save us, please.
I don't really have much, but I thought that you'd be really proud of me for watching, well, Andy might not be now, a nice movie where nobody dies. I watched yesterday.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I watched yesterday with my mum and dad the other day. The Beatles themed movie. Do you know of it, Dan?
Oh, it's based off a song title, isn't it, from the Beatles? Right.
Yeah, but that's not the
Well,
plot. But
you asked me, do I know the movie? I said it's based off a song title. I can't remember which song
you
title
threw
it is.
me.
All You Need Is Love.
No, the song
Yellow
title
Submarine.
is Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, fucking
What's
hell.
happening?
2021 is also going to be a shit show, isn't it?
I thought you meant like I watched it yesterday and it
No,
kind
I
of
watched
blended
the
into...
film yesterday.
She didn't even watch it yesterday.
No, I watched it a few days ago.
Okay, I get it.
Right, so it's about a guy that is a musician and he's not getting very far, and then one day something happens and the Beatles don't exist. So he is hanging out with his mates at a pub and he starts singing, I want to say it was yesterday, I didn't take notes, but he starts singing a Beatles song and all his friends are like, oh my God, when did you write that? That's the most amazing song ever. And he's like, fuck off, it's a Beatles song. And everyone's like, who? And he thinks they're winding him up. So then he immediately goes home and Googles, and the Beatles don't exist.
Are you going to spoil this, by the way? So
No.
we just do a spoiler warning. Okay.
No, that is the synopsis. It's got a man in it, and it's got that chick from Baby Driver in it. It's got Lily James in it. I don't know who the guy is without looking up.
It's got a man and a chick from Baby Driver.
It's got a man
I
in
didn't
it
watch
and
this for the
chick from
podcast.
Baby Driver. If you haven't seen it, fuck off.
Who else has it got in it, though, Pen?
Hang on, I'm going to find out who the man is now.
Another man.
Himesh Patel and Lily James. Who else? Unfortunately, so, okay, I really liked this film. I'm not going to spoil it. It was a really nice film.
But
If you don't like Beatles music, you probably won't like it. But it also has Ed Sheeran in it, which was a bit of a
You
problem.
two are so nitpicky today.
and
Fucking hate Ed Sheeran.
How long is he in the film?
He's in it for quite a bit, but like on and off.
Oh.
But they do, like, he does, like, he takes the piss out of himself. The film takes the piss out of him and stuff. So it's not terrible. But then fucking James Corden is in it for about 2 minutes, which is obviously 2 minutes too many.
Oh my God. People stop putting him in films.
But literally, like, there's a bit where they have like a late night show.
Yeah.
And it could have been anyone. It could have been anyone. They could have gone on Jimmy Fallon or anyone, but of course it's fucking James Corden and he's in it for like 2 minutes.
No, not
which
Jimmy
brought
Fallon.
it.
No.
even in her own time, she's watching films with James Corden in it because she secretly loves him.
I didn't know.
Live action James Corden this time.
But yeah, it was a really nice film. Nobody died. There was no horror. It had Beatles songs in it and it was nice and I liked it. So I'm not a massive Beatles fan. But I would recommend if anyone wants a nice film to watch. I think it came out last year. It was a good one.
Without spoiling it, does it have a Groundhog Day effect where in order to realise what's going on, all you need is love?
No.
Without spoiling it?
It didn't.
I guess.
It didn't go where I thought it was going to go, put it that way.
Okay, cool. All right.
Like, I kind of thought like you. I'm like, oh, okay, something's happened. The Beatles don't exist anymore. Like, eventually it will get undone or something. Like you said, like Groundhog
Yeah.
Day. But it didn't. It wasn't obvious. It was good.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay. Well, I might check out Yesterday,
Yep.
tomorrow.
Would you say it kept you on the edge of your seat?
Is that a Beatles reference?
Like, did it enthrall you, or was it like going downhill like a Helter Skelter?
I'm assuming, I know Helter Skelter is a Beatles reference, so I'm assuming the first one was also a Beatles reference.
No, it wasn't. I was just trying to get to Helter Skelter. What I really should have done
okay.
immediately was start thinking of references, but I've let myself down here.
Yeah, no, it made me want to go back to the USSR.
Oh, very good.
Take that as you will, because I don't know what that means, so you can interpret that as you like. I lived in a Rolling Stones house, not a Beatles house, so I can't really help you. Hey, Jude. There you
I
go.
see. Thanks, Pen.
I know you guys love it when I sing.
Yeah, Dan looks a bit upset by that. It's like he's been chopping glass onions.
I feel like Miss Honey when she's just crying all the time, right?
All right, it wasn't that bad.
What the hell was that?
Yesterday.
That was one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard.
Yeah. It's a bit soppy, bit sweet.
When did you write that?
I didn't write it. Paul McCartney wrote it. The Beatles.
Who?
The Beatles.
The what?
John, Paul, George and Ringo, the Beatles.
Which Beatles is this? The insect Beatles or the car Beatles?
I watched a couple of things, mainly a very recent film that came out on Christmas Day, Soul from Pixar.
I heard good things.
The Disney Plus exclusive, which get used to it, everyone.
Yeah.
Basically, including Warner Brothers films, all going straight to HBO Max, right? Is that right?
There's a lot
All
of
Warner
them.
Brothers films.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to have subscriptions to stay up to date. Anyway, Soul stars Jamie Foxx, Tina Fey, Graham Norton is in this as well,
Love Graham Norton.
and Richard Adelaide from IT Crowd is also in it.
Richard Iowadi.
Fuck. Richard Iowadi. I can't
Richard
pronounce it.
Iowadi.
Richard from IT Crowd is in it. Got that bit out. Is in it, and it's really good. I wouldn't say. I know a lot of people and the critics and stuff were saying like this is the best Pixar film that Pixar have ever done. It's good. It has the emotional beats, as I like to put it, that Pixar films have. You guys would probably like it because it's really about music a lot of the time and stuff, even though it is jazz most of the time. But it has a lot of nice messages about finding your purpose in life and what's what's the thing you're good at and what thing you should do and all this kind of stuff. But
A bit like Matilda.
bit like Matilda, yeah, but none of the bad stuff in it.
No touching.
I'm saying nothing.
But it's really good. I won't spoil it for everyone because I'm sure everyone's going to watch it, but it's quite funny. I still think that WALL-E is probably the best Pixar film in my eyes, but we may talk about that on After Dark later. Mm-hmm. But it's still good. I would still definitely watch it, and it's worth it.
Look, I remember one time my dad took me to this jazz club, and that's the last place I wanted to be. But then I see this guy, and he's playing these chords with force on it. And then with a minor, I was, whoa, whoa, whoa. Then he has the inner voices, and it's like he's singing.
I also watched, which is a film I missed out in 2020, Palm Springs. I don't know if you guys have seen this film.
Is that the James Franco?
No, it's Andy Samberg film. Brooklyn dude. And the other girl, I forgot her name. Brooklyn 99, 917, whatever it's called, 911.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I got it right this time.
No, it's Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Right, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, he's in it. It's kind of a rom-com, and it's J.K. Simmons is in it as well, which surprised me. It's kind of like, as we were speaking about earlier, a little bit like Groundhog Day, where his character is at a wedding, and he's reliving this wedding day over and over and over and over and over again for reasons I won't spoil.
Someone else's wedding.
Yeah, someone's just a friend of a friend's wedding. Basically, he's gone to the wedding.
Can you imagine
and
having to go to a wedding every day?
Be like hell, wouldn't
well,
it?
this is the thing: is that when you kind of get introduced to him, you know this within the first 30 minutes. You find out that he's been to this wedding for ages and ages, and he gets to the point where he's sick of it, where he's getting drunk and doing things at weddings that you probably shouldn't do because fuck it, you can get away with it, a little bit like Groundhog Day. But another woman, I forgot her name.
Is it Christina Milioti? Because I've looked it up.
Yeah. She ends up getting into the same loop as him. So the two of them eventually end up having the same wedding over and over again. And it has a lot of different twists and turns in it, stuff I didn't expect. It's got a weird storyline, but it's actually quite funny. And it's probably would have been one of my top films of 2020 if I did watch it in 2020. And yeah, it's really, really good. I know a lot of people will compare it to Groundhog Day, but I fucking hate Groundhog Day. Just to clarify, I hate the ending of Groundhog Day. It annoys me so much. Like,
I've never seen it.
The film was kind of good. But
I've seen it, but I'm not
spoil
sure
it.
I can remember the end, if I'm perfectly honest. So
it's a classic movie end. You know, one of those typical.
Oh.
Oh, that's how it.
All they need is love.
He falls in love and then it's all fine again.
Possibly. And I like that Palm Springs kind of took that and did a different thing about it. Even though it was a weirder story than Groundhog Day, it was less bullshitty movie endings, if I could call it that. So that's why I kind of liked it. So yeah, it was good. Palm Springs really good. And I think, and very quickly, I've been watching The Boys. And I really like The Boys.
Finally.
And I will return back.
I haven't started it
in
yet.
a few weeks when I finish watching The Boys, which is an Amazon Prime thing. I may talk about it in After Dark, one of the After Darks, another time. But either way, that's my week. There we go.
I have no interest in this. Emptiness. You know, the who, what, why of your past. You got here, that's all that matters.
But if you really want to know someone deeper, it does matter. It does. You have to know the whole package.
I disagree. This. The next bite. That's all that matters.
Anyway, let's move on.
Let's get on with it then.
Because I'm sure Penny is super excited to talk about our film out of the hat. I fucked that up. I even got music for it, guys. Take it away, Penny.
Perfect.
Our film out of the hat.
I was going to try and Chris Cornell that in the middle, but I couldn't. I bailed. I thought about it.
Our film out of the hat is the 2006 James Bond film starring Daniel Craig, Casino Royale. This was one of my picks.
I have a question before we start. It was 2006.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So why did they all have like Nokia N64s? Wait. Why did they all have tiny shitty
N64s?
They all had Sony Ericssons.
They all just had little brick Nokia looking phones. I was
They had
confused
Sony
what year it
Ericssons because Sony paid them a shit ton of money to be like
to show their little
the advertising in that
brick
film
phones.
is so fucking abundant. It's just a 2.5 hour
I did
advert.
notice his laptop at the end and that sort of shit.
Yeah.
But right, you making that was just the question that I had.
There is a
all right. Well, I'm glad.
There's a scene in it with a Ford, relatively near the beginning, that is just straight out of an advert. I'm pretty certain.
I mean, there's a scene in it with an Aston Martin. There's a scene in it with a.
He mentions
some
the
other
Aston Martin
thing.
by like name and date and colour, doesn't he? Like he's at a
But
showroom.
that's the
He's like,
brand.
I saw a very nice 1964 Aston Martin and I have nicked it with my car.
I agree with you that there is a lot of product placement in it, and that some of it is more subtle than others. But particularly the camera shot of that Ford is straight out of an advert.
And at the end,
It
he's
does
sitting
feel
on
like
his
a
little.
movie.
He was sitting somewhere in Venice on his like laptop. I can't remember. Is it a Vio laptop or whatever it is?
Yeah,
that you
Vio.
can-
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we're saying is there's a lot of product placement in this film, and maybe one of us noticed it quite a bit, but yes. Before we start, we just want to give a little brief explanation. Penny doesn't like James Bond films. Now, previously, you did say to us the ones you saw were what, Pierce Brosnan
I think
ones,
I
right?
saw a Pierce Brosnan one when I was 15, maybe, because I had a friend
When
that was
you were
in love with
15.
him.
So that would have been
Like-
20 years ago. So
Goldfinger?
no, Goldfinger's from the
I think
60s.
it was Tomorrow Never Dies.
Oh, yeah, shit.
Yeah, I mean that's not a great one in fairness.
Yeah.
Oh, Tomorrow Never Dies. Is
No, I went to school with a girl that was like obsessed with Pierce Brosnan. I remember going to the cinema to see one. And, you know, like I've seen bits of them, like if they're on in my house, but I've just. And I didn't hate this. We were saying earlier I could have cut that down to like an hour and a half rather than 2.5 hours.
Okay.
I thought they would be very actiony all the way through. And I did fall asleep a little bit in one place. So take that as you will.
Okay. Well, we'll take it as is. So, the movie begins, as most James Bond films do, as we all know, with a very interesting intro. Now, I'm going ahead with this. There's a very interesting intro with most James Bond films, usually drawn out quite long and stuff. Black and white opening. We're in Prague, in the Czech Republic, and James Bond has tracked down MI6 Section Chief Dryden, who's been selling information to enemies for profit. And they have a big old chat, and Bond basically tells Dryden he's secretly hiding in his office, and when Dryden gets in, he sees Bond there. He says he's killed one of his buddies, Fisher, and this is where we have this whole interaction between them where he's talking about the first kill as a 00, which he's not a 00 yet, which Penny didn't know. He wasn't a 00 yet. This is him just before he becomes a 00.
I didn't know it was a reboot. I was like, I thought he'd killed a bunch of people before. And then I was like, maybe he's like Batman.
What, you knew Daniel Craig?
But I thought maybe I'd got all my James... So I was like, I'm sure he's killed a bunch of people before, James Bond. And I was like, maybe he's like Batman. Maybe he doesn't kill people. But then Andy explained to me what it was a reboot. But I didn't know that going in.
You thought he doesn't kill people?
Well, because he was going, you have to have killed 2 people. And I was like, I thought he was the same James Bond as all of them. I didn't know he
shoots people all the time. In the one film that you've seen, he feeds someone into a giant printing press.
But that's what I thought.
But it's fine, though, because he didn't kill him. The printing press did. So technically it wasn't him.
That's what I thought. But at the beginning, they were talking about how he hadn't killed anyone. And I didn't understand what happened to all the James Bond movies from before.
You ignore him. It's a new franchise, essentially.
Well, I know that now. And done. Ignored.
You do know there's multiple 00s, so there's like 007, 006, 005.
Yeah, but he's still 007. I was confused why he wasn't already 007 at the beginning, because I thought he was already.
Suspend your disbelief from the other 007s that have happened
I thought they were like Doctor Who's. I thought it was a continuation.
They morph into one another at the end of...
That would have been amazing.
Pierce Brosnan is like, I have to go.
I thought they were a continuation of the same James Bond. He was still the same dude. He was already a 00. I did not realise that at the beginning.
Okay.
Also, that dude that he's talking to, my first note just says bent, lol, because he says about being a bent copper, and it made me laugh.
Very mature.
Fucking great insight there for Bennett.
Oh,
Thank you,
wait,
Bennett.
some of these notes are fucking ridiculous.
Oh, I can't wait. Jesus, right. So Dryden points a gun at Bond at this time and he says, shame, we barely got to know each other. Pulls the trigger. It's empty.
Sexual tension.
Fuck.
He's not a teacher and a child.
Fuck, stop.
Sorry, I will try and let you get the plot out. Right.
James has cleverly removed the ammunition and he says, I know where you keep your gun. I suppose that's something. This suave smugness is what you're used to in a James Bond film, and God, I love it sometimes, and sometimes I fucking hate it. But with this one, a little bit of an exception because I kind of like this film. Dryden then goes...
There were some really cringy bits like that in this one.
This is a 2.5 hour film. Let's not make the recording 2.5 hours.
Yeah, let's not. Dryden then explains to Bond about his first kill is usually the hardest, but the second, and before he can finish, James kills him and says, yes, considerably. Now, Penny, do you know what he meant by that?
No, I had no idea what was going on because I didn't know he hadn't killed 2 people, and then he cut him off mid-sentence.
The opening scene.
So Andy literally
she was bored by that point already. I had to walk her through this film. I held her hand through most of it, going, no, Pen, this is what it means.
Yeah.
Your first kill is always the hardest, and before he finishes a sentence, he says the second, and James says, yes, considerably, meaning it was much easier to do.
Yeah.
Therefore... it was so easy to kill Dryden because he's already killed
I thought he'd killed
guy.
1 million people before, I was...
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, that's what I didn't understand.
What do you mean, the second?
Yeah.
It's been 1,106.
Yeah.
We flash back to the bathroom scene where he killed Dryden's mate. And he does the spin around, and we get the opening scene with in my eyes, one of the best opening music tracks is Chris Cornell's "You Know My Name."
It was a good song.
Great song. I can't think of many of the recent ones that are as good, apart from possibly Adele.
What, Skyfall?
Skyfall's a cracking song.
I can't think of any in the Brosnan era. I don't think there's that much that stands out.
What about Bassie? She did one.
Yeah, but Shirley Bassey's old school, so that's fine.
Okay.
Tom Jones,
can pull it off.
Fine. But the Adele
Jones,
song from
yeah.
Skyfall has that same sort of resonance as Bassie, but is a much more modern uptake. Yeah. Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Chris Cornell. Rip.
Genius.
Yeah.
We miss you, Chris.
So we cut to Uganda, where a group of freedom fighters led by Stephen Obano are arranging a meeting with Le Chief, who's the big villain played by Mads Mikkelsen. And I love him so much.
Yay, Hannibal!
And this is when Penny got excited because she was like, yay, someone I know and care about.
I love
Who's
Hannibal.
the villain?
Yeah.
Is he the good guy at the end of the
I knew
film?
he wasn't the good guy. Good guys don't have funny eyes.
Oi, some of us have got funny eyes.
He had a golfing incident, I think. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's
to
like
him.
He had a
golfing.
golfing incident.
I don't know. I just imagine that's what he says.
Is
to
this
people.
canon?
I don't know. I can't remember why he got it. And maybe, I don't know, someone shot him in the eye and stuff.
No,
maybe?
he tells
I don't
you
know.
he's got a condition. He's got like a blocked tear duct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
does
got
he?
leaky bloody eyeball.
yeah, one of his eye ducts.
His eye ducts.
I wasn't paying attention.
I like that you
Anyway.
thought it was just a golfing accident. Like by day he's an accountant and by night he's just a golfer.
He's a pro golfer.
That's why he was in an
Anyway.
accident, because he was golfing at night.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
For fuck's sake, stop going on about the golf.
You put it up.
Anyway,
Royale.
you extended it. All right, anyway. Le Chiffre, just to summarize, he's meeting with a couple of people, and what Le Chiffre tends to do and what his job is he likes to manipulate the stock market. So when someone comes to him, they're like, I want you to invest in something, here's a bunch of money, and you manipulate the stock market, therefore giving me more money and, you know, more in return.
Oh, that's why they wanted to blow up the plane. Carry on.
Spoilers, yes, well done.
Oh, God.
She's now getting it. But the thing is, and I'm not going to criticize Penny for not knowing, because there will be some people, because I know it's not the most fucking, you know, simplest story in the world to understand. So there will be some people in Penny's position who have watched it and gone, I don't understand why he did the plane thing and what Le Chiffre's actual role in this and why they play cards and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, we have Penny to be that audience member, you know.
You're welcome.
Anyway. You're a metaphor, literally. Well done. You've become a fucking metaphor. Well done.
The thing I hate most.
I still can't understand. Le Chiffre takes this money and he calls a stockbroker in London and he sells a massive number of Sky Fleet stocks. And despite the broker warning him that he's betting against the market and all forecasts only call for Sky Fleet stock to increase in value, he still says, do it. For reasons later on. Okay. In Madagascar, Bond is on his first mission as a 00. So this is his first mission, Penny. Just to let you know. This is his first mission.
And my note just says, who's this noob? Because at this point, not him, the guy that he's working with. Because I don't know that this is James Bond's first mission. But he's working with that guy. And he's like, stop touching your ear. Don't get the gun out. I'm like, who the fuck is this noob?
There's one thing annoys me about that guy. He's so fucking stupid to keep his fucking hand near his ear at all fucking times. I can't hear you. I'm like, come on, man. You're meant to be a fucking secret agent.
That's like the universal sign for I'm listening to something sneaky.
Yeah. Exactly. And I know he's in training and Bond is trying to like train him up, but fucking hell, if you're going on your first mission together, you'd at least fucking fuck it up that early, you dickhead. Fuck you,
If you're Bond, why would you take someone else who is also on their first mission?
That also confused me, because this is quite a high... Was it quite a high priority mission beforehand? I think he just knew he had a tip-off.
Weren't they getting the bag with the bomb in it?
Yeah, he was a bomb maker.
Is that what he was getting? He was chasing that dude for a backpack.
Yeah.
Yes, and then it extended after they found out what's in the bag. But there was a fight between a mongoose and a cobra, and I was rooting for the mongoose. I had £10 on the mongoose in this place. So he fucks it up, Carter, and the guy gets away, and Bond ends up fucking just chasing him because he's new guy has screwed it up. We get this really long parkouring scene through a construction site.
I'm glad you said it was long, because it wasn't bad, but I was like, this is really long.
It's awesome. It's like 15 minute, 20 minute scene of free running, and I think a lot of it is non-CGI'd, right, Andy? Do you know? I think it is.
So the guy in it that he's chasing is Sebastian Foucan. He's one of the originators of free running.
Oh.
So he did a lot of it himself. He had some wires for some of the high work stuff, but generally he did most of it himself. And it's important to note that this is the first Daniel Craig Bond film, so they were trying to set a precedent for what these films would be. So where you've got Foucan running and sort of jumping through things, Bond is just fucking barreling his way through it with like brute strength. And I think that's what they're trying to show in this film, is that this is a harder, grittier, stronger Bond than the other ones.
Yeah. I mean, he kills the guy.
He does get the shit like kicked out of him a lot, and he was all like cut up and shit after that, wasn't he? Like he did not look good at the end.
Doesn't necessarily follow rules, but he does what the right thing to do is.
Yeah.
He kills two guys in the first... Well, I mean, one guy at least, but he seriously injures another in the first scene. So already that's something... I mean, Pierce Brosnan wouldn't... He would, like, comically shoot a guy in, like, an ankle or something, you know what I mean? But Daniel Craig beats the living shit out of someone and then just shoots people. So, yeah, they... First opening scenes, they really kind of hit home with, this is a different kind of James Bond.
Correct.
He eventually catches him, but Bond is caught, but he does a video game technique where he sees a red barrel and he shoots it to cause a distraction.
Such a nerd.
What? That's what they do. The reason they're red barrels in a video game is because you see them like with your eyes. Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't, if they were like blue barrels, you wouldn't fucking shoot blue barrel, would you?
I don't know, wouldn't I?
No, it'd be water. don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, cause a
And the
distraction.
brown ones are for monkeys to throw. I don't know.
Green ones are normally poison.
Sure, why not? Anyway, so he ends up shooting the barrel to cause a distraction, gets the bag that the runner had, and pulls out a phone, and on the phone, on the Nokia 6400 as Penny put it, on the phone, says the word ellipsis on it. And Bond
He also
keeps the
takes
phone.
that bomb out of the bag really carefully after fucking running around and parkouring
Yeah,
with it.
it's weird, isn't it? I thought that.
Bag the whole time. And then he just like very carefully takes it out of the bag. I was like, I think it's a bit late at this point.
Either way.
I don't have anything interesting to say about these films, so I am just going to chime in with weird observations. Just so
That's
you know.
fine. That's why you're here.
Yep.
Back at MI6, M, played by Judi Dench.
Christ, I missed the Cold War.
Well, you were old enough to see it.
Yeah, it's true.
But shush. M is furious that 007's violent actions were caught on video, and they have a whole talk about his ego and how she felt like she promoted him too soon because she's trying to keep his ego out of the fucking MI6.
The place.
And he said, well...
Sorry, but the place where he blew up the barrels was an embassy, and legally that's not a good place to blow up.
Yes.
Hence why she's funny about it.
Oh, and it was in the newspapers and stuff, wasn't it? He got caught.
Yeah.
So she didn't like that.
And he says to her, well, the life expectancy of a 00 is brief, so your mistake will be short-lived. Fucking smart bastard.
He is
I
a
love
prick,
him.
isn't he?
I love him.
He's like Matilda. He just looks so smug all the time.
It's nothing like fucking Matilda, Jesus Christ. She tells him to go on vacation so she can decide how best to deal with him. But meanwhile, Bond has hacked into her computer and he's discovered that there was a call that was given to the runner originally, and that came from the beach resort that is in the Bahamas, which he then goes to find out from this ellipsis text message that came to that phone that he found earlier on. Bond goes to investigate. He ends up finding the middleman, Alex Demetrios.
He shouldn't have. She broke all sorts of like GDPR rules. She just gave him all those info.
No. Pen.
Oh.
Alex Demetrios. No. Alex Demetrios is the guy of the woman. I think you're referring to his girlfriend, right?
No, he goes up to the woman at the desk and he's like, oh, I'm looking for this. I accidentally nicked this car. Who does it belong to?
Oh, the receptionist, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
okay.
she's like, oh, yeah, it's Mr. Demetrius's. And he's like, well, where can I find him? I'm like, you shouldn't be giving out all this information.
I agree with you, but also that's a weird thing to take from this film.
I was bored. I took a lot of weird things from this film.
I think he said, I'm an important client. I was due to meet him. And I think he's
No,
suave.
he says, I parked my car next to this very fancy, like 1964 Aston Martin, and I accidentally nicked the door. Whose car is it?
He wants to be nice.
It's like suspicious. He is sus. James Bond, sus as fuck.
Yeah, it's not sus if you're going to a hotel and immediately the receptionist will go, you're definitely a 007 agent. Stay away. Like, she's not going to know.
No, but she shouldn't be giving out that information to anyone.
Also, there's a valet service, so what's he doing parking a car?
Yep.
You too.
Thanks, Andy.
He's nicked the car is basically, he's pretty much fucked it up, basically.
He's dented the door.
Dented the door a bit. A little bit. Tiny bit. He eventually gets to Alex, who happens to be a henchman used by the chief, and he's hired to find someone who could carry out the task for the chief. Bond meets Demetrios and plays poker with him, beating him and winning his 1964 Aston Martin DB5. What a fucking beautiful car it is.
It is.
Yeah, it gets his money, his car, and his girl.
And his watch, isn't it? Or something?
Did he get his watch?
No.
I think there was a watch. No? Okay, just me.
No, but that was like super James Bondy. I was like, that was smooth.
So Demetrios's girlfriend, wife, whatever she is, I can't tell if she's girlfriend or wife, is waiting for Demetrios outside. James pulls up in his car because he just won it, and he's like, James Bondy, come away with me. I don't know how to put it. Just
he smooth talks her and is like,
maybe?
I'll take you home, and she's like, no, and he's like, yeah, go on, and she's like, all right, fine, whatever.
Let's bring Penn into this. Was he romantic, Penn?
She's pretty asleep.
No, I've written he's in a fancy hotel and they're making out on the floor. I know that's after he got her, but he's not really very.
Penn is about 5 minutes ahead of everything else we're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know how he's so smooth though. Like, I don't think Daniel Craig.
Did you find him smooth?
Not really. I also don't really find him attractive.
Oh, okay.
So, but like, he's like, oh, come to my house, and she's like. To be fair though, she like. her husband's a bit of a dick, so I could see why she was probably like, this man's paying me attention.
Yeah, but I'm sure most people in there would have.
I don't think he would have been able to get her that quick.
He's James Bond.
Yeah.
He can do what he wants. He's a smooth-talking motherfucker.
Smooth operator.
I don't know if he is, though. I found him really cringy in places. We'll get to that, because otherwise I'll be 10 minutes ahead.
Yeah, but that's because he's not a convict. That's why you wouldn't go for him.
No, I would have picked Hannibal. You're correct.
You fucking...
But there are some cringy bits in this from him.
There are, yeah.
She does tell Bond that Demetrios is going to Miami. So Bond follows him there and he confronts Demetrios at the Body Worlds exhibition.
I've seen that. Have you seen it?
No, I really want to.
It's pretty good.
No?
I went with my mum. It was, they're all, you see it, obviously, in the movie. It's real. Yeah. But they're all real people without their skin and stuff on.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I'd donate to that when I die.
You can donate your body to it. Yeah, and they take all your skin off and then they preserve you like that, so it's all bones and muscles and blood and stuff.
Just for show, though?
Yeah. It's to show you how muscles and bodies work.
I don't know if I could stomach that.
It was in London a couple of years ago. If it's back anytime soon, we'll go and have a look. Yeah. Three of us.
Okay.
It obviously didn't bother me, but in there's a movie called House on Haunted Hill. There's some creepy bits in that are based off those real bodies, so it didn't really bother me because I was used to looking at fake ones. But the only one that did get me, there was a guy near the end and he stood like with his arm out and his skin is hanging over his arm like if you were holding like a suit.
Yeah, that's weird.
And it was like the entire body of skin. And that was the one that made me go, ugh.
That is weird.
Cool.
But yeah, it was a pretty fun exhibition.
I've always had an issue with how he got to Miami because I thought he was in Barbados and not the Bahamas. Is he definitely in Nassau, in Bahamas?
It says he is in... Hold the line, caller.
Thank you.
Yeah, resort in Bahamas. Yeah, resort in Bahamas.
Because I always thought he was in...
fact
I always thought he was in Barbados, and the flight time from Barbados to Miami is 4 hours. So it would have taken him 8 hours to get there and back. No. And I was like, how the fuck is he doing this?
He was in Barbados before.
When before?
With the snake and the monkeys.
No, he was in Madagascar then.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, there's so many locations.
No wonder I couldn't fucking keep track.
I always assumed he was in Barbados, and I was like, the flight time there and back is not going to be enough time for him to get to Miami, save a plane, come back, and see her in the morning. But Bahamas...
Possibly Wikipedia might be wrong.
If it is Bahamas, it's only a 54-minute flight between Miami and Nassau. So it's plausible.
I'm glad we cleared that up. Location. Anyway, Bond does kill Demetrios when he's held at knife point. However, the bag that he was holding at the time goes missing, and it's gone to another man, and he follows that man named Carlos, hired as a last-minute replacement. Bond follows him to Miami International Airport.
I had some problems with this.
Where he pulls Why?
Did he have a ticket? How's he getting through all that security and stuff?
They sometimes... I remember... Post 9/11, they had a first security clearance, and then the second.
Because he gets into like duty free and stuff, doesn't he? He needs a boarding pass.
Oh, he can buy a ticket.
But that was it. I was like, I'm suspending my disbelief. But part of me was like, does he already have a ticket, or did he buy a ticket there, or did he sneaky spy in? I suppose it doesn't really matter, but I was a bit like, how did he do that?
You know how we discussed like how everything, like people going to the toilet is not in films? I don't think we need to show Bond buying a ticket, waiting in line for 60 minutes as there is a queue, and then going for a toilet, have a shit because he really needs... Like, I don't think they need to. Yeah. But yes, I understand.
Argue about having to pay tax on all the duty-free stuff.
Fucking having
him walking around with a giant Toblerone.
Anyway, he gets to the airport, follows this guy, and this guy ends up going into a secure area. Bond is trying to figure out how to get in, and he ends up finding out just through light bulb moment that, oh, maybe ellipsis works to get through this door. Types in ellipsis, and he gets through the door. During this time, M calls him to tell him Le Chiffre will have Carlos destroy a prototype jetliner for a large airline named Skyfleet. Now it's all coming into perspective now, Penny.
Yeah, sure.
So the prototype is the largest passenger aircraft in the world, and destroying it will bankrupt Skyfleet, essentially. So Carlos is going to go and drive something into it. Chase ensues. Very cool chase on the runway. Bond is chasing after him. He eventually gets into the truck, which has explosives in it. And there's a moment where the guy ends up rolling out of the truck with the detonator still on the truck itself. I think it's underneath the truck from what I remember, yeah?
He like clips it on.
Yeah, so Bond at one point is out of the truck and he can kind of see underneath the truck, and we don't know that he's grabbed it at this point, but he kicks the driver out, sneakily attaches to the back of him, and he blows up, saving the truck just in time to skid it in a dramatic fashion. Bond saves the plane.
I did like that reveal that he'd clipped it to him. Like, it didn't occur to me.
And he stares at him.
Yeah, with his smug face. But I would have liked to have seen the guy blow up. But obviously that's me.
Okay, Le Chiffre knows about that Carlos's plan has failed and Dimitros was killed. He assumes that someone talked and foiled the plots. So Bond goes back to the resort, and the woman that he got information out for, Dimitros's girl, basically, she ends up dead in a hammock, which is, if I wanted to go, that is a way I would like to go.
No, she got tortured first and then they put her in the hammock. I don't think that's how you want to go.
Yeah, but
like
I thought they spun her around really quickly in the hammock.
Maybe they did, who knows.
That's what I initially thought when I first saw the film. I was like, she's died by the hammock?
I did think that was kind of good. Not that she was dead, but like he didn't think about it, because like wasn't M like, oh well, because you killed her husband, there was no one else to question.
Yeah, she was the only one left.
Yeah, and it did seem like a little bit like a you should have known that, James, kind of thing. But then he was like, oh yeah, well, I don't care. Yeah.
Fuck, I don't give a shit. Yeah, but that builds to later on for his character, especially towards women as well. Like, it builds later on.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Le Chiffre's plan was to short sell hundreds of millions of dollars in stock fleet stock, and in destroying the prototype, it caused their stock to plummet and send them into bankruptcy. So his original plan was to destroy the plane so that the shares were cheaper, and then he could rebuy them back. So destroy the plane, rebuy them back, do that way. And then thanks to Bond, Le Chiffre lost over $101.2 million. So Le Chiffre now needs to earn some money back so that his investors will not eliminate him. So he decides to go to the Casino Royale in Montenegro and get all the money back, where all the expensive
that always works.
Money is being played. And the entrance fee is 10 million each with a 5 million buyback. So there's a lot of money to be won here. So he's going to gamble it all because
that's the name of the movie.
Yes, exactly. M tells Bond that Le Chiffre has set up this game and she's going to get him in on the game. M arranges to place Bond in the game as a replacement for a syndicate member, since he's the best poker player in MI6.
That's lucky.
That annoyed me. Yeah, that's the one thing that annoyed me, is like, how do they know? I guess they train them, but why would they train them? Or why would they know that?
When they're sitting around in the staff room.
Playing poker.
And they're like, oh, have you seen James? He's fucking the nuts, mate.
Yeah, he's really good at poker.
Yeah, he's also really good at Uno, but that's less lucrative.
And Emma's also placed a homing device planned on Bond's left wrist so she can track him anywhere, because she doesn't trust him, because loads of people are getting killed and he's been a bit not great. The British government, good old Boris, will be putting up the money for the game. And while Bond is on the train, he is met by a young woman, Vesper, played by Eva Green. In my opinion, she's the best Bond girl of all time.
This is where I fell asleep.
Why?
So she gets on the train and they talk a bit on the train. And then my next note says casino, because that's when I woke up. I would have rewound it, but like I've said, it's 2.5 hours and I didn't have time to rewind it before the podcast.
This is one of the most interesting scenes as well.
Yeah.
They were just talking.
They break down each other's character.
Yeah. He realizes kind of in this moment that she's different from probably most girls.
She hasn't got a tell and he's got an ego. See, I still knew. I didn't have to watch that bit.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, they are arriving as a married couple together at Casino Royale. Bond is posing as a professional gambler named Arlington Beach.
What? Really? Like,
yes.
Yeah.
His name's a place.
Arlington Beach. Yeah, that's such a shitty fucking...
But surely...
He could have just been called, like, John.
That's almost like being called Spy McSpyface. Or like Fakey McFake name.
Yeah, fake it. James and Bond and son. Or something.
Like,
Vesper is called Stephanie Broadchest.
Is she?
Yes.
Yeah, she has the same reaction as you did, Ben.
Oh, okay. At least there's some...
She's offended by this.
There's a gag out of that, I guess.
Yeah.
So, they meet with Mathis. Okay. Who's Mathis, you may ask? Well, he is their contact in Montenegro, and he explains that Le Chiffre probably doesn't know he's under surveillance because the only person monitoring him is Mathis himself. He spent time establishing his own relationships with people such as the local police chief, whom Mathis has already arranged to have busted on bribery charges.
I think this is more of what I slept through. Maybe that's why I didn't know who he was.
Okay. Before the game of Casino Royale begins... Before the game of poker begins, Bond also purchases a deep purple backless dress for Vesper to wear. Penny, do you know why he purchased that dress? I love this trivia time in Film Out of Hat.
I was asleep. I didn't know that he purchased it for her. Pretty sure now you're talking. The first bit I remember, he meets Hannibal and shakes his hand, and Hannibal are like, "Are you Fakey McFake name or are you James Bond?" And he's like, I don't know, and walks off. That's the first bit I remember, I think.
Have a guess why he wants her to wear a deep purple
backless dress.
So that people will look at her butt.
Yeah.
Correct. I'll give you that.
And get distracted by her because Mathis later on is like, "You look really fit. Everyone's looking at you." I mean, he doesn't say fit, but I'm paraphrasing.
That would have been amazing if just this small, diminutive French dude is like, "Oh, you look well fit."
Everyone's still looking at your ass. Like.
Bruv, you look peng. Be golden.
Peng.
I don't know.
Buffing.
They go to the casino. They get introduced to everyone at the table. There are 10 players at the table. And all the money is being held in a Swiss bank account for the duration of the game so that nothing shady happens. Everyone has to enter their password into this laptop and this is kind of silly, James Bond, but it's fine. They enter the password to bank account that transfers the money and keeps it into the account. So all this money is now safe in an account on a laptop. So no one can steal the money unless they have the laptop.
And all the passwords.
Well, no.
No?
It's just them putting it into an account. The account isn't on the laptop. The account will be connected elsewhere.
But it's held in their account.
It's in a cloud.
Yeah, it'd be the same as any other bank account.
Do we have to explain how bank accounts work to Dan?
Please.
Yeah. There's nothing in his, in fairness.
And at the conclusion of the tournament, the winner went into his password and into the Christian keypad and get the money. There you go. Anyway, Vesper has the account number, but Bond only knows the password. By the way, that's important for later. The first game of Casino Royale, Bond deliberately...
Can we please call it poker and not Casino Royale? Casino Royale is the venue.
I know, I'm trying to be funny and it's obviously not pulling off, so that's what she said. On first hand, Bond deliberately makes a misjudged call to figure out how Le Chiffre bluffs. And what we learn is that when he puts his left hand to his eye, is this the dodgy eye? I think it's the dodgy eye, right?
It's the dodgy eye.
It's leaky eye.
It's the dodgy eye. When he puts his hand up to his dodgy eye, that in some way indicates that he's bluffing, and Bond gets to learn this over a period of time. After a lengthy round of hands, a break is called, and Bond places a tracking device in Le Chiffre's asthma inhaler and takes Vesper back to the room.
This is where, like, I feel like this is the point where at one point does he go over to her to get a drink at one point in the middle to talk to Mathis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he kisses her and he's like, "You taste nice." And it was so fucking weird. It wasn't smooth at all. I didn't like it.
It wasn't done in that kind of
It kind of was.
It wasn't being creepy.
No, it wasn't.
Felt creepy. Also, how long do you think No,
sweet.
It wasn't. It was weird. It was cringy.
He was taking the piss out of the fact that they were a married couple and that they were playing a married couple. And it's something maybe a married couple would say to each other.
I just thought he was supposed to be smooth all the time. And it didn't work.
He's smug as well.
I imagine to some people that aren't you, that would be smooth and that would work.
Answers on a postcard. If a man walks up to you, gives you a kiss and tells you taste nice. Or a woman. Is it creepy? Is it weird? And is that anyone's kink? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing out.
It's not even a kink. What is going on?
Le Chiffre is called back to his room by his girlfriend. By the time Le Chiffre gets back to his room, from one of the early scenes, Obano, who gave his money at the very start to invest the money into the stocks with Skyfleet, he turns up and he's about to kill the girlfriend and Le Chiffre. And he says to him, "I can get your money back. Don't worry. I'm playing this game of Casino Royale. I'm playing this game of poker."
He's playing Casino Royale with Hannibal and I'm going to win.
I'm going to win.
He is Hannibal. He is Hannibal, Penn. Pay attention. Fuck.
I know, but he's not, is he? He's, what's his name? Le Chiffre. He's not. He's Hannibal.
Yeah, but he's not playing with Hannibal because then he'd be playing with himself, which in fairness he probably does anyway. But he's not playing Casino Royale with Hannibal.
I was trying to annoy you by calling the character the wrong name, like Dan's calling poker the wrong name.
I mean, it worked.
The henchmen then leave the hotel where Bond and Vesper are hanging outside and decide to kiss each other to not look like they were listening in on the conversation. Unfortunately, the henchmen see an earpiece in Bond's ear and they start to fight. Takes him to a stairwell where the henchman is thrown off to his death.
I liked that bit.
You enjoyed that?
Yeah.
Good fight scene, wasn't it?
Albano is the only one left and he's holding a machete. They end up fighting each other. Bond gets out of Albano's chokehold. Albano tries to reach for Bond's pistol, but Vesper smashes it out of his hands and Bond finally kills Albano and orders Vesper to contact Mathis with what's happened. Bond ends up finishing the poker session, and then once he finishes the poker session after that, he returns to the room and he finds Vesper fully clothed, shaking uncontrollably in the shower from the fight. He holds her and confronts her, and this is the first time that James Bond feels not like James Bond.
Yeah, see? But she's scared and she's shaking in the shower and she's like, there's blood on my hands. So he sucks her fingers.
What's wrong with that?
It's weird.
Why is that weird?
I feel like there's a time and a place for it, and not when you're terrified because you just helped murder someone. And also, if she meant metaphorical blood, I don't think sucking her fingers and trying to be sexy is appropriate. But if she meant real blood, then that's gross.
No one is saying it. He's doing it to be sexy.
Why is he
He's
sucking
not
her
thinking,
fingers?
oh, hello.
It's not a sexy thing.
She's wet in the shower. I better turn her on a bit. He's trying to get rid of the blood from her fingers.
They're in a shower, the water's on. Wash it. Why is he sucking some dude's blood off her fingers?
It's romantic-y, kind of.
It's not.
He's trying to connect with her. Oh. I should add, this is the second time he's changed his shirt.
It's fucking weird, man.
He wears 4 shirts in this poker game. This is the 3rd one he's about to put on after the shower.
You counted?
I did, yeah.
Next day during the poker game, Bond loses all his money to Le Chiffre after misreading that bluff where he puts his hand up to his eyes and he admits to Vesper that he had made a mistake. I fucked up. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Vesper won't give him the buyback money, saying he's going to lose it. So Bond goes after Le Chiffre, but is stopped by one of the other poker players, Felix, the CIA representative sent to the poker match to catch Le Chiffre for the same reason.
How long do you think it took Mads Mikkelsen to learn how to do the thing with the poker chips?
I can do it, so not that long.
Oh.
I can do it.
I've never tried, to be fair, but I'm pretty cack-handed.
It's not difficult.
Okay. That's all.
I forgot the other guy's name, but...
Felix Leiter.
Leiter, thank you. Felix Leiter. Is that...
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright.
I got it right the first time. Sorry.
Yeah, Felix is in a load of the other films beforehand, and he recurs in this series as well.
So he ends up giving the money to Bond so he can buy himself back in. He believes that Bond can't beat Le Chiffre, but in return Bond said, I'll give you Le Chiffre if you give me the money. I'll give you Le Chiffre to the CIA. So gives him the money. Bond has a comeback story, a montage, shall we say, where he slowly builds back his, like, Eye of the Tiger playing in the background, slowly builds his bank account back again and becomes a threat to Le Chiffre. Le Chiffre ends up poisoning his drink. And this was the only scene that I think Penny knew beforehand.
Yes,
before she watched
and he reminded me that I saw it on Gogglebox.
Yeah.
It was good though.
Do you want to talk us through it?
Yeah, go on.
So they're playing and there's the whole thing about he has a martini, doesn't he? He gets a drink. Yeah. Am I also correct in he's like, can I have one of this with 2 shots of this and 1 shot of this? And everyone's like, yeah, I'll have one too. I'll have one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he drinks it and he feels weird. And then he realizes that Hannibal has poisoned him. So he runs out to his car and he calls MI6, 5, 6. And he calls them up and it's like NASA. Because everyone's on the other end and they're all trying to help him get into space. They're all trying to help him
not
with a little...
Not easy being the host, is it?
I'm not reading Wikipedia. This is from memory.
Keep going. Yeah? You're right so far. Keep going.
Yeah. So they're all on the phone and they're like, right, do this. And he's got a little machine And they're like, but don't press the button yet. Don't press it yet. And he attaches all these things to him. And then they're like, press the button. And he's pressing the button and it's not working. And they're like, you're going to pass out in a minute. Press the button. But the button's not working. And then he realizes that the jumper cables, the human jumper cables, are not attached to the machine. And he passes out. And then Vesper finds him because he's left the door open to the car and he's hanging out in the car. And she then jump starts him with the little machine.
Yeah.
And then he tells everyone that he's all right. And MI6 are like, you should go to the hospital. And he's like, nah.
Oh, you got to say the line.
Say the line.
You got to say the line. What does he say when he gets back to the table?
He says, sorry, that last hand nearly killed me.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
So proud of her.
Yeah.
So proud.
Because Hannibal is like, he should be dead. Does he have to change his shirt again?
Yeah, well, it seems so, because he was sweating through it. So I would say that's the 4th shirt he's wearing now. That little machine is obviously a smaller handheld defib.
Yeah, little human jumper cables.
Yeah. Human jumper cables.
Human jumper cables. Tell me I'm wrong.
You can tell that you've spent your life growing up with people who work with car batteries.
My dad literally sells jump starters.
Yeah, I know he does.
So, yeah.
He gets back and eventually they get down to 4 players and then they go all in. At one point, Lashif believes that he's got a higher hand, so he goes all in. We think Lashif has won until James Bond plays his hand and reveals a straight flush and he wins the game.
Also,
Yay!
This is the only type of poker that I know how to play, so I actually understood this one.
Oh, good. Fantastic.
That's very good.
Yeah. So basically, I enjoyed all the casino bits of this film. And then I was out.
You said there was too many of them. You said it was too long.
There were too many. You didn't need to be playing that game for like 3 different scenes, though.
Bond has dinner with Vesper. He receives a call from Mathis. He says, don't worry, Lashif has been apprehended by the CIA. We got him. We got him, America. Well done.
We got him, boys.
We got him, boys. Vesper leaves the dining room, and seconds later, Bond realizes she's in danger. She's been taken away. And he goes chasing after her in the Aston Martin. Down a lonely road, the only goes down the road. And while he's driving in the middle of the night, he just about sees Vesper in the middle of the road tied up, and he swerves the car. And I think they had to film this scene, which is a real, like, car crash, no fucking CGI. They had to film and poor Aston Martin getting flipped about 10 times, and I think it broke the world record.
It did, yeah.
At the time, right?
I think it's still got it. 7 full rotations on its side.
Yeah, I think, yeah, probably. So, poor car. I really like the Aston Martins. I'm sorry, but I just do. I really love those cars. And then to see it be flipped, it was quite sad, and I shed a little tear.
Yeah, me too. Penny doesn't give a shit.
I was waiting for Penny chip in. Bond is apprehended and he wakes up. He's naked. This is when Penny got interested.
That's it. My notes for that whole bit that you just described. Wins, talking, naked Daniel Craig. That's all I've got.
Did you not like this scene? Did you not find this scene quite funny?
I found it funnier that I text Andy saying, is he hitting him in the dick? But it auto-corrected to, is he hitting him in the duck?
That was the highlight of this film for Pen. An autocorrect mistake that she made was the highlight of this film.
A thing she made. Yeah.
I did,
Bond is stripped.
When he cut the seat out of the chair, I did think, I was like, they're either going to do something to his bits, or it's a poop chair for when he shits himself when he's being tortured.
What, for convenience? You think he's what do you think?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
Well, they just don't want to do the cleanup. They're going to put a bucket underneath him.
I had to be fair, I wasn't expecting them to just keep hitting him in the dick either, so I don't know.
Lashif uses a large knotted rope to naked Bond's scrotum. There you go. Demanding the password for the account and the winnings to be secured so that he can get it. Lashif wants the money. Bond refuses, despite Lashif's threats to kill him and Vesper. Bond tells Lashif that his investors who are already hunting him will find him and kill him. Lashif counters, saying that even if he murders Bond and Vesper, the MI6 will still welcome him back, or still welcome him, sorry, not back, welcome him into MI6 because of the knowledge he has about his terrorist clients. There we go. Lashif finally draws a knife and makes a poop hole so Bond can have a shit. When gunshots are heard outside, door opens.
No, like, if you'd have seen that bit, would you immediately assume it was to hit him in the balls?
Yes.
Yes.
Really?
He had a rope. Yes.
Is this an action film trope that I don't know? Like you cut a hole in a chair so you're immediately going to hit...
What other reason?
I don't know. I didn't know why he was doing it. I was not expecting him to hit him in the balls.
So you can have a look.
I didn't know what it was for.
But why was your first thought, well, he must be taking a shit then?
I don't know.
That's the bit I don't understand.
Chairs with holes in. I don't know.
Don't want to ask any further.
Don't want to know.
I don't know.
Oh, God. The door opens. Mr. White, the broker who introduced Obano to Lashif, points a silent pistol directly at Lashif. Lashif is suddenly frightened and pleads with him, saying he'll secure the money. To Mr. White replies, money isn't as important to our organization as knowing who to trust. And then he shoots Lashif right in the fucking head.
I didn't know who he was. I wrote, who's this guy shooting him?
He was in one of the early scenes.
Andy told me. I didn't know. I didn't care. And then it just says, how is this still going?
Yeah, if there's one complaint I will make, that the movie, the next bit is in Venice, probably could have been worked maybe shorter, or maybe...
They could have put it in the next film.
He stopped the bad guy and he's got the girl. Surely that's the end. And there's even like a nice scene of a bunch of boats where you think it's going to end.
You can argue that normally that's where Bond films normally end.
So maybe that was the point.
This one's trying to be different because there's two sides of the story. There's chasing the bad guy and then the girl.
Yeah.
And to him, the girl is more important. So that's why it has this extra element of it, I guess. He ends up waking in a hospital bed, Bond. He recovers, gains his consciousness, talks to Mathis, who he believes was responsible for his and Vesper's capture by Lashif, because he said the CIA will end up taking everyone in, and he thinks he fooled them.
Because he was really poorly after being hit in the balls a lot, wasn't he? He was out for a while.
Well, he got kicked backwards on the chair and he cracked his head on the concrete floor. So I don't necessarily think it was because he was being hit in the dick.
Just the balls.
It was probably more because he concussed himself being booted backwards.
Yeah, fair.
Either that or the smell from the shit under his chair was too much for him.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Because of this, MI6 agents appear, they taz Mathis and drag him away. Meanwhile, Vesper and Bond are having a nice romantic get-together in Venice on the boat. They meet the Swiss banker in charge of the winnings and visit Bond and Vesper to give the passwords to key in. The password is their own first name. What was that? Why did
I knew it, though. I knew she was dodgy when I saw this bit. I knew she'd nicked it.
I completely forgot what that means. Sorry.
So the password for the account was Vesper.
Yeah.
Bond used her name as the password.
And I knew as soon as he told her to put the account number in it, I knew she'd nicked it.
We're not there yet, Pen, but...
We're not there yet, Pen.
Oh.
Bear that in mind, everyone.
Bond, on the way there, Bond resigns from the service to go on holiday with Vesper. He says,
can't resign. He's just been rebooted.
Yeah, because he has nothing else to go. He has the girl.
He's happy.
Yeah, but you knew he wasn't really going to resign because the films had just been rebooted. There's no way. That's stupid.
No,
Pen.
That's the thing. They're trying to tell you that this guy, he's not like the James Bond of old. The girl is more important to him than the fucking job.
You told me to ignore all the James Bond from olds because he'd been rebooted.
Yes. So why are you still thinking about him?
But why do we need to prove he's not like old James Bonds? I'm supposed to have forgotten all the old James Bonds.
He tells Vesper that he loves her, and that's unusual for any Bond to do. He says he would give...
But I've forgotten all the Bonds.
He'd give up the
Without
life...
you, I am completely naked. You are my armor. He says nice things to her.
Yeah, it was cringy.
He gives up the only life that he knows to spend time with her because he adores her. And you're like, oh, this is bollocks. She's fucking shady. You're a prick, mate. Grow up, Pen.
She was, though. She was shady. I knew she nicked it. Sneaky bitch.
Let's get there. Let's fucking get there.
All right. He resigns from the service. They go to Venice and have a nice romantic time. M phones 00 about his resignation. She says that they'll discuss it later, but they need to talk about the money being returned to the British government first, which tips off 007 that Vesper was using him
He's a sneaky bitch.
all the time. Okay, without knowing the film, did you think that was the case?
My theories were like they got together and he fell for her, so she was going to die because he loved her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of originally where I thought it was going. But then, yeah, as soon as she put in the account number, I was like, oh, she's going to take the money.
She put the account number in like earlier in the film. You were just asleep at that point.
But because she did it and she transferred the money, like, and put the password in, I knew that she was going to nick it. It wasn't going to be a... I knew she wasn't like, oh, I'll be back in half an hour. I was like, oh, she's taken the money. She's done a runner.
Bond follows Vesper to a secret meeting where she turns the money over in cash to a man named... Get Gelter.
Was trying to blend in with his pirate glasses. Could you look more conspicuous? Like, he's trying to be sneaky, and he's got one plain glass in his glasses and one dark one, and I'm like, you stick out like a sore thumb,
But
mate.
he's probably missing an eye. Like, people have that if they're missing an eye.
Yeah, poor Lashif had
I know,
problems.
but it's a spy movie. You're like, he's the bad guy. You might as well have, it's like putting people in jail with black and white stripes. It was really fucking obvious that he was a bad guy.
What would you rather? He was walking around with just one hole missing in his head.
He could have had a glass. I don't know why he didn't need to have an eye at all.
I don't know. It's just a plot device.
I was just like, they're sitting on the boat and she sees him in the street, and I'm like, that's the fucking bad guy. So she's got something to do with him because she's sneaky. They might as well have big arrows going, look at this guy, he's shady.
Yeah, part of it is probably to
He's slim.
advertise it to the audience. But Dan, let's just fucking move on, mate. Let's keep going.
Gunfight ensues as Bond is found sneaking around and Vesper is kind of held hostage a little bit. He tries to save her, but she gets locked into an old elevator. I think, doesn't he shoot the water to knock the building down? Is it an explosion or is it one of the water supports
He
or something?
shoots one, so they're in Venice, and he shoots one of the air supports, which holds the building up.
Yes,
I assume.
that was it.
What
yeah.
colour barrel is that, please?
It's a yellow one.
That would have been, yeah, yellow. There you go. Know your barrels, everyone. It could save your life. So the whole building starts to collapse into the water in Venice.
That was fun.
And
I enjoyed this
Good.
bit and how they made Venice sink.
awesome. So the building is sinking while Vesper is trapped in the elevator that's not moving. And because of this, the elevator is slowly going into the water. Eventually, the whole elevator submerges into the water. James jumps in to try save Vesper, but he can't open the elevator, and he looks at her dying body. Dramatic music plays, and she slowly dies. I was sad when I first saw this because I really like Vesper. I think even though she was a bitch and she kind of like played him for fiddle, but
yeah,
you know, she kind of was his closest thing to a soulmate in a way because they're both, you know, made for each other, I thought. So
yeah, I would agree with you.
anyway, Bond recovers the body and takes her above water. He's unable to revive her though, but he sees Mr. White, who's been watching the scene, is leaving with a suitcase full of money. Oh, double cross. There you go. So immediately Bond gets back onto a sailboat. He talks to M, who informed him that Vesper had a boyfriend who was being held by Le Chiffre's organization. She had intended to pay off Le Chiffre's associates with the money to secure her boyfriend's release. That's why she did it, Penny.
Yeah, I did feel a little bit bad, but
For who?
well, that she was
good.
blackmailed into doing it. So I felt
Yeah.
a bit bad for Bond and a bit bad for her too.
Wow. Okay. M believes that there are no further leads and that the trial has gone cold. Bond says to her immediately, I'm back. Or I'm back in the game. I'm unretired. Fuck it, I'm back in the game. We cut to Italy in Lake Como?
Yeah.
Northern Italy?
Yeah, Lake Como.
A lush villa, and after he exits the car, which is Mr. White, he receives a phone call from somebody telling him they need to talk. He asks who it is, and he's suddenly shot in the leg by a sniper. Turns out it's James Bond, and he has become the James Bond. And I forgot what he says here. Oh yeah, my name's Bond, James Bond.
Cue the music.
First time he says it, he says right at the end, and that's how he becomes James Bond. And that's eventually is Casino Royale.
I needed everyone
Holy
to
fuck, that
feel
was a long
like
one.
it was as long. This was as long as I felt the film was.
I try to go through as much as possible, but we were talking about holes in chairs for way too long. Penny, I'm so excited. What did you think about Casino Royale? You're one of the best Bond films of all time. What do you think of it?
That was alright.
Cool. Good.
Like-
Moving on.
Cool. Andy, what do you think of this, right?
Pen, have you got nothing else to add? Do you just think it was alright?
Is that it?
Like if you literally cut like an hour out of it and make it
You
not as long,
are forever
then
in
it was
debt
fine.
to horror films, aren't you? You just won't accept anything else.
I liked Yesterday. That wasn't a horror film. I do watch films that are not horror films, but I don't really like action films. I guess. I don't know. I didn't like it. I can't help it. I don't do it on purpose. It was fine.
Jesus.
It was fine.
Score.
It was long. I liked it more than Drive. It was less boring than Drive.
Different films. Very different films. I do agree with you that it is way too long. Like, I would have cut out the last half hour when they go to Venice.
It's a bit too long.
But
yeah,
like I said, like, I thought it was going to end here, and then it felt like they tacked that bit in Venice on in the end, which they didn't need to. But it was just like, I don't know, maybe just pacing for me, I guess, because I was like, okay, so you need this bit and you need the bit with the plane, and like I said, the casino bits could have been shorter and things like that, but just maybe it was just pacing for me.
Yeah, I mean, it is a slow film,
yeah,
but I don't think they could have cut anything out of it unnecessarily unless they cut out the entirety of the Venice stuff.
Yeah,
because everything leading up to that is pretty integral, I would say. There's not.
Yeah, so I mean, like,
there's not much that you could trim out of it without it feeling disjointed.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, you needed it all. Like, now I understand what was going on, but yeah, maybe then it was just pacing, because it's just like, fine.
Score?
Hannibal was great.
Did you like it enough to watch Skyfall?
No.
Score?
4.
Fucking hell, Ben.
Oh, are we?
I don't remember what I gave Drive.
Now, I know this. We're going to pre-preference this. We apologise, but the views of Penny do not represent the views of everyone here. I know Drive is a bit like hate it or love it, and I understand that. This is a lot more mainstream, and I'm very surprised you've given this a 4. But okay, we'll go with it.
I will preface this with, I was having a day, so this was maybe not the best day to watch it.
Oh, so it's your fault.
No. But I did go in with like Andy said, go in with an open mind and whatever. So I wasn't going in to hate it. And like, yeah, there were some bits that I really liked, but it did not hold my attention particularly.
Okay. Andy, what do you think?
I think it's good. I mean, it's one of the better Bond films we've had for fucking decades.
Your favourite Skyfall, though, isn't it?
Skyfall is my favourite, I would say. I think it's more interesting. But as an introduction to a new Bond and as a sort of refreshing look at it, I mean, this came shortly after all the Bourne films where every sort of spy film changed from gadgets and shit to...
Yeah. I've never seen any of those. Does that help?
Not really.
Not surprised.
Not really. Where things change from like gadgets to like hard-hitting, gritty stuff, I think it's a decent take on that.
Yeah.
Is Q James Bond?
Q?
Yeah. Is that a James Bond thing?
Yeah.
He's a gadget man, yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't in this one.
No.
Was he?
No.
He doesn't have
Andy
a Q.
just explained why.
Oh.
He turns up in Skyfall, though. So you might enjoy it because he's in it. So back to...
Who plays him? I feel like I know this.
Is it Ben Whishaw?
Oh, yeah. No. No, I don't think Q would help. I was just curious.
Okay, cool. Anyway, I'll continue. So I think it's good. I like it. I do like the grittier take. I don't necessarily buy him as a Bond, or certainly it didn't initially, because he's too... I think he's just a bit too built for it. Like, he's fucking shredded.
He is shredded.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about the beach scene when he comes out of the water, and it's like, oh, Jane.
Even Hannibal's like, you look good.
Yeah.
He doesn't quite sound like that. I'm paraphrasing again. But
what does he do?
When he's on the poop chair, he's like, oh, you looked after your body. What a waste.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, I said poop chair. Go on.
Anyway, I think this is a decent film. I think it's worth a watch. I'm sure most people, if not everyone, has already seen it, but I think it's worth another rewatch. There used to be a joke in my parents' house that it was on every week, because it's one of those films that if it ever came on the TV, you would just end up watching it, regardless of how often you've seen it. And I think that still remains. I wouldn't necessarily go out my way to watch it, but if it's on, I'll chuck it on and just chill. Whereas I wouldn't do that with some of the other Bond films. So I'm going to give it, I think, a 7.
Okay.
It's good. It's not groundbreaking. It's way
average.
too long for me. It's not fucking average. It's not average. It's way too long for me, but it's decent. It's a good watch. 7, please.
Okay. I really, really like Casino Royale. I think it's my favourite. However, the reason I think I like it so much, and it's probably a reason with a lot of people who like Skyfall and Casino Royale, is because I fucking hated the Pierce Brosnan era so much. Because I was a big fan of Mission Impossible, and I loved like action films growing up. I used to watch all Mission Impossible, all James Bond, but I hated Pierce Brosnan era. I thought it was dog shit for most of it. So when Casino Royale came out, I saw it in the cinema, and I was kind of taking a risk on it to see if it was good. But it was during a period of time when everyone thought it was the greatest film of all time. You know, people were overhyping it, saying it's the greatest thing ever, blah, blah, blah. It's the greatest Bond film of all time, blah. I've seen it about 10 times now since then. It's still probably in my eyes my favorite Bond film. I don't think it's like as good as it was maybe back in the early days when it first came out. I think it did a lot of new things that was good, and a lot of, like, as Andy said, the realism comes in. It's a lot more grittier. It's got that opening scene that really fucking sets the tone for what this guy is.
Yeah.
It has really fucking cool chase sequences in it I really like. Mads Mikkelsen is amazing. He's great as a villain. Has a lot of really good things. I do agree it is too long at times.
Yeah.
Even though I was interested in it, I think, it could have been just cut down a little bit more. But I still fucking love this film. I think it's an amazing action film. Eva Green is the best Bond girl of all time. But yeah, I like it. That's why I picked it, and that's why it's good. I'm going to give it a 8 out of 10.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, not a 4. Double that. I'll give you an 8.
004s or something. I don't
Very
know.
good.
I don't care anymore.
Right, Film Out of the Hat is where we take a film and then we watch it 2 weeks later from today. So we won't be watching next week, watch the podcast after. So I'm about to debut our brand new drum roll. Is everyone excited?
Yes, please. Move for 2021.
Here we go. Here is what it is. Can we have a drum roll, please, for Film Out of the Hat?
Ooh. Still 8 hours long though.
Bet you didn't expect that.
So extra.
That's fantastic.
I love it.
It's pretty good,
That's
right?
fantastic.
Yeah.
The gong. I love a gong. Yeah. I don't know why.
So our film for next week is...
I really want it to be one of my not horror movies just to shut you the fuck up. Peria.
Why?
Why?
Oh. Do I?
It's a Penny film.
Is it a horror?
Is it a horror film though?
Now, first, let's after Penny has a great or bad week with this, or may have a bad week next time. The Film Out of the Hat for next time in 2 weeks.
I wish you could all see his face when he does this.
Because the Film Out of the Hat that we're going to do in 2 weeks is, and you may have to go back a couple of episodes to listen to the first one, is Hatchet 2.
Yeah!
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I've only just put this in the hat as well.
Which is famous for ending on such a great note that they purposely made the second one.
Pen.
That's why I thought you guys needed to watch it. You needed to see how the story is.
Pen, I know you think that us calling things with no ending being a Hatchet film is a slight, and you think this will fix it. But have you seen the Hatchet 2 recently? Because I read what happens in it, and I can confirm the ending is the same.
No, I haven't seen it lately.
Mary Beth manages to escape the clutches of Victor Crowley and returns to the swamp with an army of hunters and gunmen determined to end Crowley's reign of horror forever. If you don't know about this film and the reason why we have the second one in, can't remember the exact title or the exact episode. It was one of the very early ones.
I think it was episode 2.
Was it 2? Oh, it must have been one. Yeah, okay.
It's the first film out of the hat.
First film. Wow, okay. So first film out of the hat, unfortunately, was Hatchet. If you want to listen to what we thought about it and the reason why we call things a Hatchet ending, go listen to that or not. It's completely up to you. It doesn't really make much of a difference. It's Hatchet.
And Andy, you quite liked it apart from the end.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm going to like
Let's
this
not
one.
talk about it because we want people to watch it.
So yeah, you can listen to it on episode 2. You can't hook up with itchy chicks.
Thank you very much. We'll be watching Hatchet.
If it helps,
Yeah.
you know how at least Andy has put in films to annoy either Dan or I. You put in shit films on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Not Casino Royale, by the way.
I have not put in shit films on purpose to annoy you, but out of all the ones I did put in, I thought this one might get you. But this was the only one.
I mean, it worked.
You consider, and I'm being honest here, you consider a lot of shit films to be great films.
According to
That
you.
is true.
Andy will put in shit like the Emoji movie and Birdemic to piss us off. I don't put anything in the hat to piss anyone off.
But I think that's more worrying because I'll put in bad films knowing that it's going to be content gold. You put in films that you think are good and we think they are wank.
Exactly.
Well, that's fine. You don't have to have the same opinion. Like, I stand by my films that I don't think are bad.
Good on you, girl.
Yeah.
Penny, what's the socials?
I was so patronising and I loved it.
It was. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Unusual Suspects Pod and on Twitter at Unusual Podspect. I'm at Penny_photobit.
At Dan Talks a Lot.
That choice is 21.
I should remind you that Hatchet came out in 2010, by the way, and it's an hour and 20. So, hour and 30, sorry. So
at least there's a short one.
Exactly. What are you fucking complaining about?
Oh, we'll find out in 2 weeks' time when we talk about it. Fucking hell. I'm so happy that we did Casino Royale, and at the same time, I feel miserable, and then at the same time, I feel even more miserable because we just pulled fucking Hatchet 2 out of the fucking
Just
hat.
be glad it...
Now you know how I felt last week.
Just be glad it wasn't one of my films.
Oh, yeah. There's still more to come, ladies and gents. You are not prepared for some of fucking Andy's fucking drivel that he's put in there.
What are you bitching about?
I also put some good stuff in, though, that I know you'll enjoy, so...
Yes, that is true. But there's also complete, utter fucking hole in a chair shit. So, either way. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. We love you all. We shall see you next week. Join us for After Dark soon. Bye.
See you later.
Bye.